Hi, Peter Charles here, Hooked for Life, fly fishing. And today I want to talk about the single biggest mistake most people make when they start into fly fishing. And as a casting instructor, I keep running across this over and over and over again. And the consequence of making this mistake is that people get discouraged. They put their gear in a corner of a closet and it collects dust for years and years and years and might never ever come out. And one day the stuff ends up in a garage sale. And that's very unfortunate because it doesn't have to happen. And what that mistake is, they make the fundamental mistake of buying gear first. It's the very first thing they do. They run out to a shop and buy a rod, reel, and line, some flies. And if you do that, it's a luck of the draw whether, you end up with a good result and you end up enjoying fly fishing. As an example, and this is very typical, I keep running across this, talking to a client recently, his first example of this is he ran out to a bait and tackle shop when he wanted to try and get into fly fishing, and the guy had some fishing tackle, fly fishing tackle at the back of the shop collecting dust. He didn't know anything about it. The client didn't know anything about it. So we ended up buying a totally mismatched set of rod, reel, and line. In conventional angling, it would be like buying a musky rod, putting a 2500 size spinning reel on it, and 2-pound test mono. It really was that badly mixed up. So as a consequence, you can imagine he made no progress whatsoever with this gear. Now, there are some very good starter kits on the market which are matched. So the rod, the reel, and the line all match, which is important. In fly fishing terms, it's like buying a 7-foot medium spinning rod. You put a 2500 size spinning reel on it and 10-pound test Power Pro. You've got a matched rig. But you can get that equivalent in a fly rod. But that still can leave you with problems. So we're going to look at really what you should be doing. And you can do any combination of this. You don't have to do them all. You could do just one. The first thing you should look at doing is seeing if there's a local fly shop nearby and see if they have learn to fly fish courses. So if they do, take one. And when you take one of these courses, it means all the gear is supplied. You don't have to buy a thing. All you have to do is show up for the course. And they'll teach you how to fly fish. And you'll do two things, basically. First off, you learn if you like it or not, which is a good thing. And secondly, you'll learn enough that you'll be able to make some wise purchasing decisions. Okay? Because it's very, very easy to buy the wrong stuff. So, for example, in conventional tackle, imagine you want to fish for panfish with an ultralight spinning rod, and you go out and buy, a flip punch rig for largemouth bass that's meant to be tossing Texas rigs into the cabbage. It's not going to do too well for panfish, is it? So, knowing what kind of gear you need for the kind of fishing you're going to do, it's very helpful that you take a learn to fly fish course if you can find one. The second thing that you can do is simply go on the International Federation of Fly Fishers website and find out if there's a casting instructor nearby. There's quite a few of them spread over Canada and the United States, so you should be able to find one. I'll put the website up so you'll be able to reference it. And you go to their Find an Instructor page and put in your, your postal code or your province or your state, and it'll come up with instructors near you. And then you just have to contact them. Usually the contact information is right on the website. So you can actually discuss with them, and maybe they offer a learn to fly fish course, just 1 or 2 hours to get out there and give it a try. Another thing you can do, if check in your local area, and it's handy to go to a fly shop if there's one nearby, and find out if there's a fly fishing club nearby that you could go see and talk to them. You don't necessarily have to join. You might just attend a meeting and talk, and you might find somebody willing to take you fishing, which leads me to another approach. If you have a friend who knows how to fly fish, that's a good way to get introduced. Let them, use their gear and go out in their local river and give it a try. And the thing what I find out, what the mistakes people make when they don't do any of these things, is first off, they get mismatched gear. And if the gear is matched, it may not be appropriate to what they're trying to fish for. And they don't get any casting instructions, so they can't cast properly. They don't know how to rig the leaders and the flies. They get the wrong flies for the job, and it just becomes very frustrating. In my previous video, I talked about the fundamental difference between fly fishing and conventional angling. And a perfect example of this was I was going to a summer camp to pick up my daughter. And the guy who was sort of running the part of the process, we were talking about fishing at a pond outside, and he said, yeah, I've got a fly rod, but I've never been able to do anything with it. And he pulled it out, and the rod was fine, the reel was fine, the line was fine, but he had this giant popper on the end of it, which he thought would be easy to cast because it was big. It was the reverse. It was very tough for him to cast. And when I put a much smaller fly on, all of a sudden, he could cast it. He didn't understand, that relationship, that it's the line that does the work and not the fly on the end. And, that's a classic type of mistake that gets made if you don't have some instruction, some help to get started. Because let's face it, when we got into conventional angling, we had help. You didn't go from zero to owning a bunch of tackle and catching a load of fish. There was always somebody there who could guide you, tell you what to buy, what lures or baits are you working, what kind of line you need. That sort of thing. There's always been help there for conventional angling. So fly fishing is no different. You can't go in cold. You can't go in not knowing anything. And to go out and just run out and buy tackle, I know we all want to get a rod, reel, and line, but it's the biggest mistake you can make. Get the information first. You learn a fly fish course, contact an instructor, meet with a club, get out with a friend. Whatever it is, do something that's going to help you learn what to do. And finally, you could watch my getting started fly fishing videos, and that won't hurt either. Anyway, give that some thought. Cheers.